Starting the coffee with the K-Bar tactical chopsticks using the Vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee at the molecular level. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, what's this coffee from Sam? Thanks, Sam. Ethiopian with some milk froth on it. Nice. A woman in a dress is somewhat counterculture, isn't it? It's like an act of rebellion. Has anyone seen that video? It's pretty viral, of this classy woman dressed very modestly but very pretty, walking down the street, and then they're showing how people are looking at her, making eye contact with her, checking her out, actually turning around and looking at her like she's an anomaly, like she's a freak, like she's either a freak or she's underdressed, but she was dressed beautifully. Has anyone seen that video? It is amazing how modesty attracts people. It's counterculture. It's an act of rebellion, wearing a dress. I gotta find the link for it and put it down below. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. You know, it's so funny. I actually became friends, or I should say friendly acquaintances, with a lady last year, and I'll never forget. And you've heard me talk about her. She's the tomato lady. I call her the tomato lady. And she was wearing a dress, and I encountered her out and about, and I said something like, I forget my exact words. They were like, a woman in a dress, oh my gosh, something like that. It was like, I could appreciate that. It wasn't a pickup line. It was like just a true act of appreciation. And it was kind of funny. At that point, like, we just started chit-chatting and talking about, it was just very, very random. I want to have her on here. I want to have her on here. And she was probably one of my top introductions or meets, the people that I met last year. And I want to share her with you, if that's at all possible. I don't know if she's too shy to come on or what. But she is listening to her talk, she had a passion for homeless people, for helping the homeless situation. And it's kind of like that Starfish thing. You're not going to solve homelessness everywhere for everybody. But if you can help just one person, she has like that kind of attitude, and she's brilliant. And I probably had more conversations with her than any other new friendly acquaintance in a long time. And it was all because she was wearing a dress. And I've challenged her to some things. And she has helped me raise the bar for certain things in my life. And I just want to get her on here. But a woman in a dress is counterculture, almost an act of rebellion. Oh yeah, I call her the tomato lady because I found out she is kind of a prepper soul. Clean water, stocking things, storing up supplies, you know, has well water, not city water, grows her own food, this kind of stuff. And the rabbit hole got deeper and deeper and deeper. And I have to say that I am a better person because of getting to know her. It's pretty cool. And she shared with me, we geeked out on certain things last year, and it was, she shared with me a seed catalog. Talk about geeking out, right? A seed catalog with some heirloom vegetables in it. And it was just fascinating to see somebody who had an interest that had nothing to do with pop culture. And it was kind of cool. So I will introduce you to her if I can coax her into coming on the show somehow, some way, even if it's just an audio podcast. Another person that I want to talk about is a guy that I know who's a BLM fellow. You know, Black Lives Matter. And we had a minimum 2-hour talk last week. Minimum. And one of the things that we had in common was that we both cut hair. And we got into talking about media and culture, which is my specialty, race relations and such. And he's a big BLM supporter, and I am not. But we talked about things for 2 hours. He did not convert me. I did not convert him. But it sure was an interesting talk. And I told him that a week after we talked about it. I said, you didn't convert me and I didn't convert you, but man, that was an interesting talk and you made me think. And he had some interesting points. And I'm glad I met him. I do this as to model for you that can you get along with people who are the exact opposite of you? Can you build a bridge to people who think different than you? Is it possible? It is, if people aren't hotheads about it. If people don't let their emotions get away. I mean, someone attacks me on social media, I blast right back. You know that. The ban hammer and block button works really well for me. I love it when people say, I've been following you for years. I love your content. I don't care. You were a D-bag with me. So get the hell out. And I become a bouncer and drag them out of the bar. It's funny. No, I did not wake up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. But I am fired out of a cannon today because I got 9.5 hours of sleep, so I feel pretty darn good. So I will have him on. Interesting. You're going to love him or you're going to hate him. I happened to love the conversation that I had. And he made me think. I don't care what your ideology is. If you made me think, you did more for me than 95% of the population. More than most of the people that I meet, if you make me think. And I appreciate that. Doesn't matter what your ideology is. Doesn't matter what your gender is. Doesn't matter what your skin color is. And there are going to be people who don't like me because I have a woman on the channel. There's going to be people who don't like me because I have a BLM fellow on the channel. I don't care. There's the door right there. Right there. Use it. But if you want to be challenged, if you want to dust off some of your old attitudes, and I'm not saying change. I'm not trying to change you. I'd rather challenge you. It's like the Jethro Tull song, thick as a brick, right? Really don't mind if you sit this one out. My words but a whisper, your deafness a shout. I may make you feel, but I can't make you think. Your sperm's in the gutter, your love's in the sink. So you ride yourselves over the fields, and you make all your animal deals, and your wise men don't know how it feels to be thick as a brick. Now some of you heard Ian Anderson's voice in your head when I said that. Like the very first couple lines, really don't mind if you sit this one out. Right? And you probably heard the flute in your head as well. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, look up the song Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull. Put on the headphones, crank it up, and then get back to me. And you tell me if that's not freaking great rock and roll. But that's what that reminded me of. I may make you feel, but I can't make you think. My job is to make you think. My job is to make you feel. And I invite people in my life that do that. I'm not looking to create George clones. George Clooney? George Clooney. I am looking to create a community of like-minded people, but not people that are so stiff that can't even talk to someone who thinks a little bit different than them. Now, if you get dumb about it, then there's no place for you. I've never seen so many Christian guys throw each other under the bus in my life. This is why I want nothing to do with the modern church. This is why I want nothing to do with the manosphere. Christians are supposed to be for Christians. Manosphere is supposed to be for men. But yet the two most radical, unfaithful, weird conglomerations I've ever seen in my life, you can have them. Two biggest wastes of time are the modern church and the modern manosphere. Give me my old-time religion. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where is it? Just because you don't believe in God doesn't mean he doesn't exist. Just because you don't believe in gravity doesn't mean you won't be subject to it if you walk off a rooftop. God exists whether we believe in him or follow him or not. Or not. And it has nothing to do with denomination. It has nothing to do with a clerical collar, a robe, hymns, pews, crosses around your neck. It has nothing to do with that. I'm not speaking from a point of authority. I'm speaking I'm speaking from the position of a Christian that sucks at being a Christian and is happy just to make it to heaven by the skin of my teeth. Now, don't scripture at me, bro. Don't scripture me right now. Fear and trembling is alive and well in my life. I don't have the fake confidence that every year there's a whole new generation of red pill followers. They read Rollo Tomassi's Rational Male. They watch Rule Zero. And all of a sudden, they're freaking experts at intergender relationships and the red pill. Then they have this new confidence and they challenge you and refute you. And they tag their red pill daddies. Rollo, Ryan, who else? Troy. All guys who I like. And I'm not mocking them in any way. But they tag their red pill daddies for approval. It's kind of funny. And they start using top G language, but they can barely grow a beard. Now, like I said, I have no issues with Rollo Tomassi. I really, really enjoy his work. He is a scholar. He's done the damn homework. I enjoy Rule Zero. I support them fully, even though some of them don't support me, and that's fine. All their voices are important. It's the same thing with like the MGTOW guys. All the big Tau. There's MGTOW, then there's Big Tau. The big guys. All the voices are important. I'm the first one to say that. But I'm glad that most of them no longer identify as mano-swampers, manosphere guys. And that's one of the best things to happen to the men's community. Somewhere it went wrong. When it went mainstream, it went wrong. It got weird. And when mass murderers started being identified as watching manosphere videos, he was watching the dark side of the manosphere videos, of the dark side of the manosphere, the toxic side of the manosphere. Some people will fuck everything up. Some people will poison and pollute every single thing. What started out as something to help men ends up being hurting men. It's weird. It's weird. Run from all things Mano Swamp. Run. Run. Give yourself some credit, dude. She doesn't walk on water, and you could have done it without her. Complimenting your wife, that's cool. I can appreciate that. But there's a huge difference between complimenting your woman and pedestalizing her.
You really have to balance that out. So we'll have a lot of speakers, including myself and my wife, my wife is my soulmate. That woman walks on water, but it's
Like I said last week on the Daybreak Show, I look at guys that are the pedestalizers, and I track down, like I will click on a link that might be the wife. As he is lifting her up with all kinds of glowing compliments, she's silent. She's not saying a word. She's patting herself on the back. It's kind of interesting. Oh, my wife walks on water. How many times has she said you walk on water? Bro, brah, bruh? 0. So enough with that. How do I know about this stuff? You know why? Because in my coaching, I see guys that have done that for years, and it comes back to bite them in the ass 100% of the time. Not 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10. Can you imagine throwing away money? Donating money to the Ron DeSantis campaign? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, but you're a big Trump guy. That's why you're thinking that way. I am. I'm a critical thinker. I am not one of the sheep. I'm not one of the sheep. I did not roll up my sleeve because of President Warp Speed. And I won't. I draw the line. I don't blindly follow any human being, and neither do you, my friendly acquaintance. In a 2019 speech, I said the highest and best use of our reproductive organs is to procreate. The pleasure associated with them is brilliantly engineered by God as an incentive. The bonus is that even after procreation is done, there's still pleasure bonding. It's no wonder why we don't want other farmers plowing and planting in our field. The Evo psych bros call it mate guarding. But nothing will break that bond quicker than the introduction of another seed farmer. Nothing. You know, it's interesting how God could have just said, insert A into B, and 9 months later a baby will be born. But he created in our bodies pleasure while A is in B. And that's an incentive to procreate. It's built within us to procreate, not short circuit our seed and spill it in strangers and strange fields. And I'm not talking as a seed supremacist. I just pulled that out of my head. I say that as a guy that squandered a lot of seed and woke up in a lot of strange beds. So I'm pretty darn qualified, even more than guys who are writing books about all this stuff. I'm more qualified to talk about it because it's not theory for me. I should have 50 children, since I spent my younger years like Genghis Khan. Father Peter Hears from the Orthodox Ethos says that sexual pleasure is idolatry. And man, that was one of the best explanations of promiscuous sexual behavior I've ever heard. There's a YouTube channel called The Orthodox Ethos, and the video is called Elements of Idolatry, Sexual Pleasure. Last week I said, about some of my past. Was it sexual addiction? I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was addiction, because addiction has 2 elements, withdrawal and tolerance. And those elements did not exist. And without those elements, there is no addiction. Then I thought, well, maybe it's pleasure addiction. No, it was idolatry. It was holding up 13 seconds of pleasure. Like, you know how like you work 5 days to enjoy 2 days, like the weekend. You work all week to enjoy the weekend. And then sexually, people build themselves up. Men work out. They want to look good. They put on cologne. They put themselves out there. They swipe on dating sites. They do all this work for 13 to get into the funnel, to work their way into 13 seconds of pleasure. You meet a woman, you're hoping to get busy, get lucky. You're hoping for that 13 seconds of pleasure. It's not about her. It's about the 13 seconds. If she happens to be nice, cool. If she doesn't, you put up with the nonsense in order to get the 13 seconds. So we are idolizing pleasure. Sexual promiscuity is idolatry. Man, that was like ding. It just like struck me. At my age, it struck me. It's idolatry. Take it beyond just the pleasure. What are we uplifting? What are we elevating? We do so much work during the week for a weekend of enjoyment. We do so much work as men for 13 seconds of pleasure. It's amazing. If we put, Napoleon Hill talked about it, and I'm not as much of a Napoleon Hill fan as some people are. I do like the book Think and Grow Rich. I do like that book. But I will tell you this, that there was one thing he talked about in the chapter called the transmutation of sex. And that is take your sexual energy and put it into business and make money and provide and buy your first home and build up your savings using that energy. And his premise is that all energy is sexual energy. I don't know if he had a dirty mind or what, but I get that. I understand that. If you put as much energy into building a business and saving as you do into getting PUSSY, you might be better off. Channel the energy, the transmutation, sex transmutation. I 100% get that. I 100% get that. What is your favorite method of making coffee? I took a poll and I put 4 methods of making coffee: French press, percolator, drip, and pour through. Today I made cowboy coffee. And it is superior. 41.4% said French press, 15% said percolator, 27% said drip, 15% said pour through. And I didn't look at the rest of the responses, and I'm sure AeroPress is in there. I'm sure that, what's the other method of making coffee? Cowboy coffee, I'm sure that's in there as well. But it looks like French press won that one, and drip is the next. For me, number 1 is French press. Number 2 is pour through. Percolator is good. I mean, I like all the different methods. And I try different methods with different types of coffee beans. I love this interchange on Twitter with Wolfgang Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen had a son, named him Wolfgang, and he played with Van Halen, and also has his own band, I believe, called Mammoth, if I'm not mistaken. And his Twitter handle is Wolf Van Halen, and some guy said, made some comment and said about clout chasing. Oh, you're using the name of your dad's band for a little bit of clout. And Wolf's response was, Van Halen is literally my fucking last name, you grape. That is tweet of the week for me. Van Halen is his last name. He wasn't just signaling like, that's my favorite band. That's his last name. I think it's kind of funny. He was hilarious. If you haven't followed Wolf Van Halen I don't know. I just find him to be hilarious. He's funny, and his band is called Mammoth. Mammoth, WVH, Wolf Van Halen. Mammoth, Mammoth, Mammoth. And the music is magnificent, absolutely magnificent. You would think that it would be just kind of like a knockoff of the original Van Halen, but it's not. It's so unique and so original. I thoroughly, thoroughly love it. You got to check it out. About 1/3 of my coaching clients have what I call relationship PTSD. It's a real thing that can keep a man stuck, and it spills over to other areas of his life. One bad divorce, one bad breakup, one false accusation is all it takes for a man to have relationship PTSD, shell shock. Anything that looks like a relationship, anything that reminds him of some of the trouble that he had, all of a sudden he freezes and backs out or hesitates. Relationship PTSD. Do you have that? It's okay to admit that. Some people say, well, he's got cold feet. No, he doesn't have cold feet. He's got relationship PTSD. He still has shell shock. There was a bunch of AI pictures of Trump getting arrested this week. And some of them went into like superhero category. I posted some pictures and people were like, those are fake. I'm like, duh. Of course they're fake, you fools. But I wrote little stories to go along with them. Like there's a picture of cops trying to apprehend Trump. It's a cool picture. And I just wrote like a little caption as if it was like a police statement. It was like he was Samson. He threw us around like rag dolls. He broke the handcuffs. And pepper spray only made him stronger. He dodged tasers like Neo. I've never seen anything like it. He grabbed me by the pussy, and I don't even have one. It's getting to the point where Trump is kind of like Chuck Norris, at Chuck Norris levels of like legendary stories, the most interesting man in the world. So I did a few of these this week, and some people hated me, like the hardcore Trumpers were like, you leftist piece of... And I'm like, really? I'm a leftist? Okay. Okay. And then some people were just like laughing their heads off. And it was meant, of course, being funny, because I do not die on the Trump hill, regardless of what some people might think, or contrary to what some people might think. I do not die on the Trump hill. I die on the Freedom Hill. That's why I'm building a community of like-minded people. And like-minded does not mean we're just like all the way to the end, like with Trump to the end. No, I'm with freedom to the end. If Trump is part of that, fine. If not, I don't know. Can you hear this? You can't? Well, let me turn it up for you. I can't speak enough about Father Peter Hears from the Orthodox Ethos. He's got a video called Healing the Soul from Sexual Sin. And we rarely hear about that. We hear people bragging about their sexual past. Father Peter Hears, he's really starting to grow on me. If you want to go to his next conference, I'll probably announce it. It's called it's from Uncut Mountain Press on the ethos of the Orthodox Church. And that was held last October. It was right after the trad forum, and I couldn't give up 2 weekends in a row. This year, as soon as Uncut Mountain Press announces their retreat, their conference, I will be there, and I'll let you know. Maybe you can join me there. But he said, he did a video on a word on healing the soul from sexual sins. We sin against ourselves when we pursue sexual pleasure outside of marriage. No one's talking about that. How many years did I do that? You know, you get these, like what I call the notch count boys, talking about how many women they've had. I think I've told maybe 6 people in my whole life. 6 people. And the last time I talked about it might have been maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And it's embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing for me. Bragging about how many women you've been with is like bragging about how many drugs you've done. That's how I look at it. Back to Trump. I love freedom. And if Trump is the freedom candidate, cool. I'm open to any candidate who can drain the swamp, not bomb the shit out of the world, and decimate big government and its overreach. If Trump is the man of the hour for that, fine. I'm not a huge fan of the president that let the January Sixers stay in jail and rot. I'm not a huge fan of President Operation Warp Speed. Sorry, folks. I don't blindly follow anybody. He was the man of the hour. So we're going to see if he can rise to the occasion again and kind of disavow some of the stupid-ass things that he did. If he can't, I'm not flipping a lever for anybody. That's why I say you need to vote for yourself. Cast a vote for yourself. Men will always let you down. I will let you down. Trump will let you down. Everybody will let you down. Vote for yourself. I love this meme. It shows a bunch of red flags on flagpoles. And the caption says, I don't know what country this is, but I know I've dated people from it. My response is, yeah, I've dated a few gals from Red Flagistan. It didn't go real well. Wait till I put out the minefield. I don't know if it's going to be a booklet or a video. I have no idea. But every man needs to read it. About the red flags and the minefield that you walk in every time you date. Every time you think you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody. Every time you think you want to settle down. You need to think about the minefield and what you're getting yourself into. Proverbs 31:3 says, do not give your strength to women and your ways to those who destroy kings. Nothing else needs to be said about that one. You can be red-pilled and not have a harem, not spin plates, not shit on women, still get married. Not a state marriage. I'm not talking about getting married with approval from the state. Be a man of Christian faith, not have to take sides with anybody in the Mano swamp. You know, it might take some practice and discipline, but it can be done, and few get it right on their first try. There's something to think about. Can't make you feel, but it can make you think. Got into another thing with a guy, you know, like the semen retention guys. Nothing like mixing Eastern mysticism with Christianity. Please bow your head, close your eyes, and accept semen retention as your Lord and Savior. I mean, that's what these guys are doing. The power of semen retention. All right. I'm not... Oh, so you believe in promiscuity? No, I didn't say that either. But I'm not elevating what I'm not going to do. It's like elevating not smoking. It's like elevating not drinking. I don't make anything a god. Nothing. Nothing. There's guys that have entire chapters on semen retention. And it's so laughable. And these are the same guys that say, I've watched your videos for years. You think you're going to get points with me because of that? You think you are more valid in your stupid ass points? Come on. Especially you. You know I'm talking to you. And the other fella, I told you this week, stop making men soft. Stop it. I'm a coach. I work with men. Yeah, you work with men to make them weak. But I've watched all your videos. I don't care. You don't get brownie points for that. Men don't need to be softer. They need to be more rigid, more sturdy, not pricks, not being a stone-cold prick. But men need to be stronger, not softer, not weaker. I love this phrase by Dan Kennedy. Poor people have big TVs. Rich people have big libraries. Love that. It always bothered me. I even did it in my marital home where the furniture in the living room was pointed Like if you sat on the couch and on the chairs, everybody was facing a TV. Everybody was facing a television. And it occurred to me, none of the seating in the living room is facing each other. So you invite someone over, you make them coffee. Oh, let's go here and sit down. And they have their coffee, but you got to like turn to face them. Because if you just sit on the couch or on any of the chairs, the recliner, everything is looking at the television. And it occurred to me probably about 10 years ago. Now, I've been out of my marriage for about 20 years. But it occurred to me about 10 years ago that I will never do that again. I want to be facing people. I wouldn't even mind putting the TV. Remember armoires? Remember like big entertainment centers where you'd have to open up the door and then there was the TV screen? Like TVs are not part of the decor. They're not furniture. Remember in the 60s and 70s, there was console televisions, a big cabinet, and everything, like the whole room revolved around that cabinet, as if it was a stage, and you were in the audience, in your own damn home. Just trying to make you think. This morning's video is brought to you by Bose. This is the Bose Flex speaker. I'll put a link for it down below. Best small speaker I've ever had. And you know I'm a Bose fan. Incredible. This was, I don't know, it was under $150, but it's one of the best sounding speakers I've ever had. I have a larger Bose, but this is the smaller one. This goes with me wherever I go. I love it. Check it out. And I also am a huge fan now of the Bose earbuds. I guess they call them sport earbuds. I like them because they're water resistant. They're not noise canceling, so I can still hear someone. If someone says, excuse me, or if I'm walking outside, I can hear a car horn. Like, what you don't want to do is wear noise canceling earbuds or headphones when you're outside and you can't hear a bicyclist behind you or a car coming or something like that. Those are good for being in an airplane or being at home and you want quiet and that kind of stuff. But for everyday stuff like working out, the Bose Sport earbuds, I'll put a link for them down below too. They are my favorite. They have absolutely transformed my workouts. Let me tell you what I've done. I now have YouTube Premium, no commercials. Comes out, you get like 3 months for free, and then after that it's like $11 a month or something. It's so worth it to not have all the ads, if you so choose. And I create workout playlists. I should share my playlist with you. I have like 3 different playlists. And I just pop them babies in, and when I'm at the gym, my workout lasts me about 41 minutes total. 41 minutes. I got it down. If I screw around a little bit, it could end up being 45 to 50 minutes. If I like screw around a little bit more, it ends up being an hour. I like to go to the gym for about an hour. I want to be in and out in 1 hour. That's what I want to do. But the Bose Sport earbuds have changed my workout. Absolutely changed it. Just help me focus, like block out everything else, focus on my workout, listening to music that's energizing to me. For me, like one of my workouts is like ZZ Top, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, and House of Pain. Now there's a weird combination, but man, it pumps me up. And I get a great workout in. And then I come home, take a shower, and while I'm in the shower, I listen to my Bose Flex speaker. You won't be disappointed, my friendly acquaintance. I'm getting the impression that Rumble, well, hello there. You want a little scratch? Good boy. Good boy. Be good to your critters. I'm getting the impression that Rumble actually cares about its creators. I'm beginning to think that they are the future for us teachers and coaches and consultants. I've had nothing but a great experience. I'm also on Rumble as well as YouTube. And I'm not used to being supported by a video platform. I actually got an email from one of the top tech guys at Rumble. And my only response is, Great job, guys. Excellent job. Rumble is truly the freedom of speech and expression platform. I'm loving Rumble. And as soon as I learn how to monetize it, then you might end up watching me over there. I'm still there. Every video that I put here also goes on Rumble. A word from the road is that OTR, over-the-road truckers, are doing a lot of sitting recently. They're not getting the gigs. They're not getting the jobs. They only make money when those wheels are turning. And some say that the future is getting bleak for truckers. If you're a trucker, can you attest to that? Look at me, dude, when I'm talking to you. You don't miss her. You miss her body. The image in your head of her on you. You miss the hardware, not the software and operating system. Think about that for those of you guys that have gone through divorce and breakup. That's what's really going on. You're not missing the software. You're not missing her language, the way she talks, her attitude towards you. You are missing the image of her body on you. That's all it is. It's in your head. In response to the one guy who's a coach, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to embarrass him. Men don't need to be more sensitive to women. They need to be more obedient to God. If you are sensitive to women, a woman will disrespect you and lose respect for you. If you are obedient to God, then you will have a much cleaner relationship. But if you do stuff for a woman, put her on a pedestal and say that she's better than you and I don't know what I did to deserve her, blah, 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 she already lost respect for you. And it makes a woman cringe when you do that. Guys, screw your head on straight, bro. Bruh. Men don't need to be more sensitive to women. They need to be more obedient to God. As a collector of dictionaries, I always get a kick out of picking one word and then looking it up in each dictionary, starting with my oldest dictionary, working all the way to the most modern. That's going to red pill you in one session. What do I mean by that? Just look up the word marriage in a dictionary from the 1800s. A union blessed by God between a man and a woman compared to the definition of marriage today. Look up feminism. You know what you'll find? Nothing. Doesn't exist. Look up racism. Look up most of the isms and ists. Feminist, racist. None of them exist. These are all made-up concepts. Make dictionaries 1870 again. And I'll leave you with this. Think ice walls, not ice caps. Bruh. And with that, finish your coffee and I'll see you on the next Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.